Welcome to the Esoteric Empire. My name is Tay, formerly known as Lovefromaleo. So I just made a video on grounding, and it kind of like had this spring effect to where I was thinking about the effects of how treating yourself with respect and caring for yourself on a holistic level can really amplify how you connect to your ancestors, but also like breaking curses maybe caused or created by your ancestors. It really was something that just kind of popped in my head as I was speaking and dissertating about grounding. And be sure to check that video out too. So what I want to talk about is basically how taking care of yourself is super important. Now, clearly, on a health level and medical reasons, you definitely want to take care of yourself just because that's just the right thing to do, and you owe it to yourself to give your body the easiest existence, as far as not having to overwork itself because you're not doing what it takes to make sure that certain organisms or certain parts of your body are functioning easily. I wanted to talk about it on a more esoteric level or spiritual level, however you want to call it. If we're talking about ancestors, now there's two ways to look at this. Now you have the earthly aspect of it, like literally people that you are descendants of. And this goes, super far back because humans have been here forever. So literally forever, because like we can't even fathom how long ago humans were here. So that's a whole nother video. On a spiritual level, ancestors can be many different things. I guess it just depends on what your beliefs are, and that's a whole nother video in itself as well. But I wanted to talk about how when you take care of yourself as far as weight, or it be mental, emotional, logically, when you do this, there's a certain domino effect, I feel, that happens to where you like light up certain pieces of yourself, because we know at this time, we know that certain levels of genius in us, or certain levels of logic, or just certain levels of intelligence, they are illuminated and unlocked through genetics. So this doesn't mean that if you didn't have the smartest people on a logical level, that your ancestors were not emotionally intelligent. It goes in all different sorts of ways. But what I'm saying is, the reason why people say you are your ancestors, or you are the person who's to carry on this legacy, is because truly speaking, you are. Not to say that you are what they have done, but when you really think about it, there's DNA passed down, and within DNA there are genetic codes, there are genetic makeups that literally create certain aspects and traits of you. So if you're thinking about it on that level, that also coincides with trauma. That can also coincide with certain levels of genius, like I said, that maybe weren't fully cultivated via circumstance of time era, or certain circumstances within your ancestor's life, or it could have even just been a life that was cut short based on, I don't know, if there was a war within your ancestor's life and they didn't get to fully cultivate something that you have within you. So I'll give the example of this. If you have an ancestor who is extremely good at writing poetry or playing a certain sport, you could have that DNA within you, and it'll travel through to you literally as a trait, and you may just have these little inklings like, oh, that looks interesting. But if you never do it, then you will never truly unlock that. So that is true when it comes to also taking care of your body, because we know that as humans in this day and age, we do have lots of dare I say fake things or GMO type things that are infiltrating just the average day for a human. So what I mean by this is that, maybe 300 years ago, food was a lot more healthier. Food was a lot more, at least natural. I don't know if it was actually healthier, but we had things that were just more purified. And so this can also go with mentalities and also emotional aspects. So I kind of feel like when it comes to this subject, it's almost like if you never even tried to live a healthier, holistic life, you wouldn't even understand this concept of what I'm talking about. But for those people who have been, attempting to live a better, holistic life, whether it's just emotionally, or if you're trying to, make justice for other people, or you're just trying to be a good person, even if it has nothing to do with health, there's a certain aspect of, really enlightening a certain part of your inner self that is passed down and trickled down through ancestors, or through the people that came before us, or the people that you are descendants of. And so I feel like it's important to do this. And it started off with me thinking about like weight. I don't know why weight is such a huge thing, but I feel like trauma can show up as weight for a lot of people. Okay, let's put it this way. So spiritually speaking, when you have a lot of things weighing on your shoulder, you know that saying, I feel like eventually it can turn into physical weight, whether it is like not being able to mentally get through certain things because you have not mentally unblocked certain issues, or whatever the case may be. But it could also be like a physical thing, because a lot of people, because they don't know how to deal with things, they'll like eat their problems away, or they will, just do what they know, and that could just be eating. So I feel like that's, just an example, but it could weigh you down. And so that is also spiritual too. Like things can weigh you down throughout time, throughout generations, because that happens in people's life, just in one lifespan that can happen. So imagine generations. So this has nothing to really do with race. This is for anybody, there are certain aspects within us as humans that I feel like we have a duty, even though we are not full embodiments of our ancestors, we are pieces, we are bits, we are aspects of them, because without them we would not be here. So that's just, it's kind of like, just think about it, so there are parts of us that, maybe certain ancestors were stronger, or some, had bigger influences genetically, even if you've never met them in the physical form. There's just certain parts of us, certain people within this world who have certain qualities about them that need to be ignited. But especially with just all of these things in the world today, it can be really hard to even just decalcify or just declutter all of the bullshit that's being fed to us on the daily basis. So I feel like it really does start with taking care of yourself on a physical level. It goes like in the order of the chakras. So at the bottom you have like the physical, the roots, the base, the instinctual, the animalistic way of being a human. And then you have the middle, which is like, who are you when you find yourself? How do you exude yourself to the world? How are you speaking out, with your throat chakra? How are you, with your solar plexus chakra and your heart chakra, how are you exuding that energy that you have found within your base, within your primal instinct of yourself, of what you morally think is right? And then at the very top of it all, we have this, third eye chakra, crown chakra awareness. And it all kind of goes together. And I feel like that's kind of how we should be in each lifetime. But because of so much trauma, so much, generational curses, because of so many, even just the bad things in this world today that we see on the news, even things little as that, like it makes it to where we don't even get to we only start at the base chakra. We're only working off of anger or frustration or survival tactics, instead of actually elevating towards even just who we are on an identity level, on an egotistical level, if you will. And so most of us are definitely not reaching that, crown chakra, third eye chakra. And so in a sense, if we're thinking that, and some people believe in reincarnation, I definitely do. I don't know if I believe that everyone's ancestor does that within their own family. I don't know. I haven't done too much research on it, but I do believe that we do come back to learn certain lessons. So it's almost like if you're a believer that you are your ancestors, or you are a piece of them at the very least, imagine if you are just reincarnating and you're only staying at that bottom level of root chakra. Not to say the root chakra is terrible, but it is if that's the only thing that you've been living off of for eons, lifetimes, centuries, So it's kind of like the more you take care of yourself, you're unlocking and unleashing so much power that I feel like in the past thousands of years have been just like really locked down. And it's almost sad, but I feel like that's just one of the things as humans that we're here to unlock and learn about. On a spiritual and logical level as well. So it's really that whole saying of like, when you take care of yourself, when you do better for yourself, you're doing better for the whole existence around you. Or if you believe in you're just a speck in the universe, but if you change you're kind of lighting the flame for other people around you, which in turn lightens up the whole world around you. It's really true. And I believe that because no, we are not all the same. No, we are not all from the same place or entity or being. But I do feel that all of us are here on this certain plane, dimension. And what we do, except for the ones who are not supposed to be here. I don't know who that is, but I do feel like there's such thing as good and evil. So for the people who are evil and they do evil things, or the entities, shall I say, because I don't think it's people, I think it's entities that do evil things on this earth, maybe they're not here, they're here to distract us from being able to enlighten ourselves, from really hitting that peak, or just hitting the point where we understand who we are, you know? I don't know, y'all. It's kind of trippy. I really hope that I was able to articulate myself correctly, because I really wanted to expound on this thought, but I did this on camera. So I would probably do this in my head usually, and you know, it wouldn't go anywhere. But I really felt the need to kind of spread this message, or at least see what you guys think about it, you know, from an esoteric level, because I feel like if you're on this channel, you're kind of on a deeper, you know, level of thinking, or I would hope so, or maybe I can influence you to be. Not that you have to always be on that level, but it is very important to have a higher perspective of things if you are trying to truly elevate, if you are truly trying to see the world around you ascend. And even if you're not trying to see the world around you ascend, if you are a spirit and you're aware that you're a spirit, if you want to really truly analyze and explore and just go through all of these different dimensions, you have to understand the dimension that you're in. And that's essentially one of the reasons why I made this channel. And so, yeah, people will call it, you know, some people will call it a cult. Some people will call it like weird, spooky conspiracy, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But truthfully speaking, like minds think alike, like minds link up. People who know the true meaning of what being a spirit is, and people who are at least trying to explore that meaning of who they truly are, you will resonate with this. And so I you know, put this video out challenging you to think about that in your own level, and think about how are you holding your ancestor, even just yourself. But I challenge you to think about it on a deeper level. How are you upholding the legacy of your ancestors, but also how are you unlocking parts of your ancestors that may have been achieved already, whether it's consciousness or just even just parts of you that you feel like you need to break curses in? How are you truly exonerating your ancestors, who are essentially you, because you would not be here without them? How are you, you know, exercising the best parts of your ancestors? How are you showing up in the world as truly conscious, or truly logical, truly emotionally intelligent, however you want to be shown? Are you living up to that? Because everyone's levels of existence are different, and I understand that, but I challenge you to really think about how you are showing up in the world and how you're affecting it in that aspect. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that me giving you a piece of my mind, you know, helped to kind of make your mind feel whole in a sense. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.